Hey there, aspiring guitarists. Let's talk today about my favorite guitar of the day, because as you know, I have many. Um, and this is not so much a review of the guitar because the the model of the guitar, Gibson Les Paul in a standard, pretty much speaks for itself. Now, they're still figured in different ways. Mine was a release that came out for the 2024 new releases. It's a 60s vintage figured Les Paul with a blueberry burst flame top. And there's the beautiful Gibson case that goes with it. And it's a great guitar. It's everything you want out of a Les Paul. Let's just take a quick look at it. It's the appointments are fantastic. The tuners, everything about this guitar is quality. They sell for they're now. I've seen them just under $3,000. This is a beautiful guitar. It plays fantastic. It's got an unbelievable nitro finish. The neck is everything that I love about the 24 and 3/4 Gibson scale. When I go into a guitar shop to pick up an electric guitar, y'all know I'm mostly an acoustic guy. But I love some electrics, and I especially like semi-hollow electrics and electrics that border on that acoustic to electric crossover, like my Godin Multi-Act, my Taylor T5Z, uh, my thin line Telecaster semi-hollow body. I still want to hear the guitar and the woods and what they do, and I'm not trying to raise that debate, but when I pick up an electric guitar in a guitar shop, I don't immediately plug it into an amp and, in my view, bias my opinion. I have seen some not so great sounding guitars plugged into really great amps and really change the way you feel about a guitar. So I'm not knocking amps. I love my amps. I love the different tones and sounds. Um, my middle son that really gets into guitar, he's the amp aficionado in our family. He likes the tones and to find different sounds and tones and distortion and gain and pedals and all that. Where I just want to hear the guitar. So I'll pick up the guitar, and before I ever, now I will plug it in. But before I ever plug it in, and I'm not going to immediately search out the most expensive amp in the store. I'm going to plug it into two or three amps. But I want to hear it play. I mean, acoustically, if you will. People will go, well, you can't play an electric, solid, hard body guitar acoustically, but you can. You can hear the sustain right there. Without me hitting the different, pickups, the bridge, the neck, the humbuckers, and all the other things you can do. I mean, but anyway, I play the guitar and I play it before, and I love this guitar and I want to sell it. And why do I sell guitars? All kind of reasons. I even have a video where I put up several Les Pauls and talked about I was probably going to get rid of the more expensive one. I my guitar. I'm not a collector. I'm not collecting guitars just to have a guitar. If you do, that's your business. Um, I buy guitars to get different sounds, different playing abilities. And I'm actually now my sights are set on a baritone I want. I'll get into that when I get it. So, um, selling, I had many Les Pauls. So I'm going to sell this guitar. Is this the lesser of the Les Pauls I've got? No, not at all. It's a great Les Paul. It's a little heavier than my other ones, and that's probably part of the reason that I want to get rid of it. The real reason is I want another guitar. So, and I don't have an endless supply of money. You may think I do. This is my hobby. If you like boating, that's great. I know a lot of people with a boat on the side of their house that's worth 4 times the 40 guitars I have. So there we go. But why is this guitar so hard to sell? Well, let's talk about that for a minute. I've got the receipt for this guitar. I've got the Gibson certification on it. I've got the high quality case. The case is absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's you got the lock on the back side. Beautiful colored. You've got the beautiful Gibson. You open it up. I mean, it's gorgeous. Protects the guitar beautifully, just like it should. So I've got the case. The case is in pristine condition. I love guitar cases that will stand on their own. It'll stand on its own even with the Les Paul in it. So what are my reservations about selling this guitar? Well, I have a close-knit group of musician friends, and that's who I'm going to try first. The last thing in the world I want to do, although I've done it, and I've done some modifications, and that's what I want to talk about, like Facebook Marketplace. I don't even want to do reverb, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not knocking reverb. And people can make some arguments against what I'm fixing to say, and I encourage you to put your 2 cents in the comment about selling guitars. Y'all have heard me talk about how much I praise and give kudos to Sweetwater for the way they ship guitars. I'll go against anybody. There's just nobody does it better. I mean, I've seen companies double box a guitar, but they take the guitar box that they're going to put in the other box, and they've got it so tight against the exterior box that that's not really offering any protection at all. If you pulled a guitar box out of Sweetwater box, exterior box, you know it's padded all around it. They use a foam, I'm using the wrong technology, but they actually fill the box up. They have this down to a science, and they should. Sweetwater doesn't want to have guitars damaged in transit. Nobody does. Quickly, I have a background in trucking that I told you I was a tractor trailer mechanic when I came out of the Air Force. I can tell you from years, and I was also a tractor trailer mechanic before I went in the Air Force. Something I did in high school. So I can tell you that the way you package things in shipping matters. Not just what it goes through on the truck, the bouncing it, but in the warehouses, being stacked, forklifts getting under them. Shipping is everything. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. There was a long while that I saved the boxes from Sweetwater, Musician's Friend, Guitar Center, Luna, places that I bought guitars direct from. And I thought, well, if I want to sell it, I'll have the box to where I can ship it. I finally had a buddy, that's my humidifier going on. I finally had a buddy that does a lot of property maintenance for me come over here with his big giant dump trailer, and we just loaded it up with guitar boxes, and he carried it off. It was another one of those where I just looked at all the and went, oh God. But I'm not shipping them. Sweetwater has it down to a science. I don't. And here's the reason, even if I'm sure that I've got the box, the Sweetwater foam to where it'll fit, and this, that, and other, this is another reason I'm not going to do it. Now, this is arguable. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to put up with somebody that I'm real particular about taking pictures when I list something. I used to be an eBay power seller when my wife got on a sterling gemstone ring kick. And I had 100% positive feedback for the year we did this. And my wife would actually put the rings on her finger, and that's what people like. They could see the ring on the finger, but that got old. It went from a hobby where we were actually making a little money to something that just got old. I have no patience for someone that thinks that I'm going to sell them a guitar at a good price and they want more and more and more, and oh, I just don't like the way it feels, I'm going to send it back. Well, Sweetwater does that with beauty. You know, they have a return policy, and they should. If you're going to buy a guitar sight unseen, you should be able to send it back within a time period and, you know, reasonable. And of course, you got to go through you got to reship it and do all that stuff. And everybody's policies are different. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not doing it. I'm not shipping guitars. I will not. I will not ship a guitar. Well, Dave, you're missing out. Then I'm missing out. Now, Facebook Marketplace. The first thing that drives me crazy about Facebook Marketplace, and I did, stay with me, I did do something that kind of curtailed it driving me crazy. Well, the very first time I listed on Facebook Marketplace, oh God, the messages. Is this available? Is this? Well, will you take this? Will you take that? Will you take the other? Blah, 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 blah. It went on. And I was like, I ain't got time for this crap. I got good guitars, even my beginner ones. I describe them well. I play them. If you want to meet up in a public place, here's another thing. Where will I meet you? You're not coming to my house. You're just not coming to my house, and I'm not going to yours. I'll meet you in a public place. Where am I going to meet you? My police department has a safe exchange zone, and that's where I'm going to meet you. Well, I can't come there. Have a nice day. Okay, Dave, you're setting your standards pretty high. Yes, I am. I'm not rushed to sell any of these things. I'm a firm believer that guitars should be played. So I'm not opposed to selling, trading, doing this, that, and the other. I'm not a big fan of. If I was hurting for cash, I'd go to Guitar Center and be really mad at what they offered me. Guitar Center has its place. I like Guitar Center, and I don't like Guitar Center. It cracks me up for their marketing to tell me that they offer fair prices and they have people with decades of experience. They have people that haven't even lived 2 decades that are insulting me on what a good guitar they're going to sell me. And I've owned businesses. Go ahead in the comments. I know they have to resell it. I know they have to pay for the lights. I know they have to pay for the employees. I don't expect to get what I paid for it. I never have. I just don't want to be insulted. And trust me, let's just leave that right there. There's a place for Guitar Center. My point being in bringing them up is if I just needed cash, if something happened that put me in a desperate state, yeah, I'd go to Guitar Center. And I'd take a licking and keep on ticking. But Facebook, here's what I finally did. I found out right quick that there are many people that are not guitarists on Facebook in the marketplace that want to buy low and resell. Anybody can do a Google search. They can act like they know something about a guitar. They don't know squat about a guitar. There are scammers. There are everything. And guess what? I just block them all. I actually created a photo that I start my listing off with of a cat growling that looks ferocious. And it says, either include what I nicely asked of you in my description, or I will block you. Dave, who do you think you are? I know who I am. I know what I got to sell. My description says I'm happy to meet up with you. I'll bring a Positive Grid Mini and let you play this, or you can bring yours. I've got a little portable generator. I'm happy to let you try out the guitar just as you should. I'm not putting up with scammers. I'm not putting up with somebody that doesn't appreciate the value of a quality instrument. I'm not putting up with it. I'm not. Well, you're not going to. No, I will sell. I've sold several guitars. I've traded several guitars. I'm not a trader. This is not an edition of Pickers or whatever. Although I think that's interesting and fun. And if you like that about guitars, that's wonderful. So what can you do to sell your guitar? Well, there's all kind of things you can do. Think back about the things that I just talked about. Now, you're going to have people who tell you, well, I didn't have no problem shipping a guitar. Well, good for you. One thing I learned when I was an eBay power seller is you can spell out everything in detail. Everything. As is. This blemish, that blemish. You must take insurance on shipping. If the product is damaged, I have a video of me packaging the product. If it's damaged in shipment, you're going to have to address that with the shipping company. Blah, blah. Detail. Spelled out. I'm a journalist. I know how to spell things out. I know how to write. It doesn't matter. They will ignore that. I'm not saying everybody, but a ton of people will ignore that. They're mad at you. They're going after your feedback. They threaten to sue you. They're this, they're that. They are the epitome of an unreasonable, unrealistic hypocrite. And I'm not dealing with them. So, what I do to sell my guitar? Well, you talk it up. The first thing I do that keeps me from having guitar addiction syndrome anxiety, because right now it's not a real good seller's market, is I'm patient. Like I said, if I was impatient, if I had a need for my family that I had to liquidate, I'd go to Guitar Center, or I would put up with the crap, but those are things you've got to think about. If you're buying a guitar and you've got that, I'll just sell it. Are you sure about that? Are you going to get what you paid for it? You might if you got a great deal on a upper end guitar or something. I look at those musician friends' stupid deal of the day. I take advantage when Sweetwater offers a reduction, a price drop, the call for pricing that they have now. I take advantage of my local guitar shop, mom and pop shops. Do I try to hoodoo them down to something unrealistic? No. If I negotiate, I try to be fair, and I also try to use my head. I try to remember that they have to resell the guitar. So if the retail is let's just take a figure, $1,000, okay. Then if I've got a mint condition guitar that retails for $1,000, it's only 3 months old. I might get $700 because 30%, in my view, is they got to have 30% to even, And then they have to decide in their head, is it going to sit and hang on the wall? I've run businesses. I get it. It's not my job to rake you over the coals, and I'm not going to be raked over the coals either. So what was my point in all this? My point is my favorite guitar of the day is a beautiful Gibson Les Paul Standard. It was the 2024 release. This Blueberry Burst, again, it's just a beautiful guitar. I'm going to sell it. If you're local to the Birmingham, Alabama area, you can reach out to me. But I'm not intimidated easy. I've met people and, well, you wasted my time. No, I didn't. I did everything I set up. Well, I don't care. Goodbye. Have a nice day. I'm a big guy. Don't mess with me. I won't mess with you. I exchange guitars at a police safe exchange place for everybody's safety. This is not a game to me. This is trying to put guitars that I no longer play or want to sell to be able to buy something else in the hands of people that want a guitar. So that's what this was about today. It's a little controversial, but I hear this all the time. Well, I'm going to buy this because then I'll just resell it. And I understand that's a justification for buying guitars. And sometimes you don't need a justification. I told you my criteria for buying a guitar is that it doesn't take away from my family. I have a need for it, that it satisfies my hobby. It satisfies what I'm trying to do. If I have a purpose, if I got a good deal, if it's the guitar I want, and things like that. Because I don't buy guitars that I know nothing about online. I'm going to do some research. Many of the weird guitars I often buy at a local shop because I want to go play it. And I believe in passing the love around. So, I hope this helped. If you got an experience that might help someone else about how they sell, and I realize you can argue everything I said. Well, I've never had a problem. Well, I understand that. How many guitars have you actually sold and shipped and never had a problem? I know a couple of my friends that are guitarists that tried to sell two, and both of them were a nightmare shipping. So, your mileage may vary. So just something to think about in our guitar journey is our gear, and can we sell it? Sure we can. But sometimes you've got to think about all the red flags and play devil's advocate and, do a little thought up front and be realistic. Like I said, you have to be realistic. That guitar is a Gibson Les Paul Standard. I'm not going to get what I paid for it. I'm not. And I'm realistic about that. But it's part of my guitar journey. It's part of the fun. And I hope your guitar journey is blessed. And hey, as always, and I mean it, happy picking.